Última hora. El honorable senador Ted Cruz estuvo hoy en la frontera donde está ocurriendo en estos momentos una crisis. El ilegítimo en plena pandemia está dejando entrar a poblaciones que no solo buscan trabajar y progresar honradamente, sino que además están entrando grupos al margen de la ley de países de Oriente Medio como Siria. Esto deja en peligro la seguridad de la nación que ya ha vivido varias situaciones trágicas por parte de estos sujetos que acaban con la vida de varias personas sin motivo alguno. Ted no está en contra de la migración debido a que su padre era cubano. Él nació y vivió toda su juventud en Cuba. Después de tener 18 años emigró a Estados Unidos. Por eso Ted entiende que la migración no está mal. Lo que está mal es lo que está sucediendo en estos momentos. Que están entrando al país personas de todo tipo como también los carteles. Que acaban con el bienestar de todos los habitantes. Es muy importante el control y las reglas. Para así casos como los de los grupos extremistas no acaben con la vida de personas que no tenían la culpa de la incompetencia de algunos de nuestros gobernantes. Como lo es el ilegítimo que está acabando al país por todos sus frentes. El titán no prohibió la migración, solo la hizo más segura. Para que todos estemos más seguros. El ilegítimo a cambio está acabando con la seguridad del país. A continuación el comunicado del honorable senador Ted Cruz, que también viene de descendencia latina.
All right, we'll take a couple of questions.
More than 144,000. Again, that's fiscal year 2019, and I do have it right here. That's exponentially higher than fiscal year 2014, 15, and so on. So my question is was it a crisis in 2019, and is there truly just one solution?
So it was a crisis in 2019, and President Trump tried very hard to solve it. He tried to work with Congress. He tried to work in a bipartisan manner. A number of us here were working very closely with President Trump to solve it. There was a court decision called the Flores decision that was mandating the release of children and family units, which was in turn serving as a magnet for bringing more and more children, putting them in harm's way, causing them to be abused, sexually abused and physically abused by human traffickers. And President Trump tried to work with Congress to fix it, and congressional Democrats had zero interest in fixing it. They said they would not work to do anything. And I'll tell you what turned it around in 2019 is the president negotiated a deal, the Remain in Mexico policy, with the government of Mexico. It was a landmark deal that provided that when people came illegally from Central America through Mexico and they applied for asylum in the United States, that they would remain in Mexico while the matter was proceeding. And that caused the numbers to drop, and drop dramatically. Last year, we had the lowest level of illegal immigration in 45 years. It worked. The policies were working, and what did Joe Biden do? He came in and immediately tore up this international agreement with the government of Mexico, and he has caused, last month, we had 100,000 people intercepted illegally coming into this country. This month, we're on path to have 140,000 people intercepted. There are 15,000 children in custody right now, and those numbers are rising, and they are rising because of the Biden administration's mistakes.
We got time for two more questions.
For decades, Republicans have blocked any effort of meaningful, comprehensive reform on immigration. For decades, all of it. People aren't going to want to stop coming to this country. They clearly do. Quite rightly, everyone here is proud that America is a nation of immigrants. So what are you going to do to solve this challenge long term?
Well, the premise of your question isn't right. We are a nation of immigrants. That is absolutely right. My father came to America from Cuba in 1957. He was 18 and he couldn't speak English. He had $100 in his underwear. We're a nation that is built by people coming here seeking freedom. And there's no nation on earth that is more generous, more welcoming to immigrants than the United States of America. But there's a right way to come. The right way to come is legally, following the rules, following the rule of law, coming here legally. The wrong way to come is putting children in the custody of human traffickers. These are vicious transnational criminals. As several folks told you, we just saw a dead body floating on the Rio Grande coming by of someone who died, crossing, no doubt, with a trafficker. This is inhumane, what is going on, and the Democrats have made decisions. Joe Biden and the Biden administration have made decisions that are causing these people to suffer, and to do this in a pandemic is particularly irresponsible. In Harlingen, the illegal immigrants being released are testing positive for COVID-19 at a rate 7 times higher than the U.S. population. This makes no sense.
Just very quickly, instead of asking a Republican or a Democrat, why don't you ask the people in charge of policing the border what the problem is? Rather than making a political statement and a question, why don't you walk right over there and ask the guy, what the hell happened? We got a chart, I'll give it to you. This was June, right here. See this spike? It was big. What did Trump do? He told Mexico, we're going to put tariffs on all your products unless you allow us to have asylum seekers stay in Mexico. What happened? It went down to a 45-year low because nobody's going to pay $20,000 to come to Mexico and wait for 4 years. The day the first plane load of kids went back to Central America, the unaccompanied minor problem went to a 45-year low. So why don't you do your job as a reporter and ask the professionals what the hell has happened in the last couple of months, and they will tell you. They told the Biden administration, if you do what you're planning, we're going to lose control of the border. They were right. I want to know who they told, and I want those people to be held accountable. I'm not going to give this up. I voted for every comprehensive immigration bill that's ever come out of the United States Senate. It is impossible for me to sit down with Dick Durbin and negotiate any solution to people already here, because if you legalize one person until you fix this problem, you're going to have a human tsunami. It will be another signal there, come to America, welcome. Don't ask us, we're politicians. Ask these people over here what has happened, why have they lost control of the border, and they will tell you.
Senator Cruz, I have a question for Senator Tillis and Senator Johnson. About to quit really briefly.
Go for it. Good.
All right, Senator Johnson, Biden's transition team alleged that Trump admin delayed action on the migrant surge for months, even though it was warned about the problem from DHS and HHS. Johnson was the previous chair of the Senate Homeland Security Committee. Did he hear about this warning, and should Trump not assume some responsibility for the crisis?
I missed the first part of your question.
Sure. Biden's transition team alleged the Trump admin delayed action on the migrant surge for months, even though it was warned. So my question is, did he
Lindsay,
hear
give me
about
my
this,
graph.
Did he hear about this warning, and should Trump not assume some responsibility for the crisis?
Why don't you ask the people who did the briefing?
Yeah, so let me, first of all, I really don't even understand the premise of your question. I've been working on this chart for a couple of years. It shows cause and effect. I will send it to all of your offices. And again, the fact of the matter is yes, there's a huge surge for a number of reasons. Deferred action on childhood arrivals. You had the Flores reinterpretation where it applied to not only unaccompanied children, but accompanied children. There are a number of things that caused this crisis, and then President Trump and his administration fixed the problem. That's the point we're trying to make. And rather than following those policies where we basically had this under control so we could take the next step, we were controlling the border, we could finish the fence. We were so close to taking that first step of having a secure border so we could address comprehensive immigration reform. Instead, President Biden ignored the advice of professionals, blew up all of these reforms, and now we've got this crisis, which is far worse today than it was even in 2019. We've had a day of over 6,000 people. 6,000 people. That's more than a caravan. That's a large caravan per day. How do you handle that? Put yourself in the men and women's shoes here that have to deal with this. How do you handle 6,000 people a day? Come on, it's a crisis.
Yeah.
Hold up a second. You can finish. Hold up.
Is it now time to pursue a more comprehensive? I know you're co-sponsoring the Secure and Protect Act. If you think we should do a more comprehensive immigration reform,
Well, absolutely, but the table stakes are here, exactly what Lindsay said. The reason that President Trump did have a crisis, to the first question asked, created by a court decision, he fixed it. What we've just had a meeting just last week with Democrat members. Lindsay and I were there and other members. And we said, if you want to talk about immigration reform, we're prepared to. We have a crisis at the border. We have to understand, again, listening to what the folks on the ground are telling us and making sure that we have policies that secure this border. You cannot possibly have a credible immigration reform proposal in Congress until you fix this crisis down here.
Thank you all. Senator, hold on a sec. Senator Cruz and I are enormously grateful to all of our colleagues who came down here with us about 18 hours ago, and you've heard their remarks and answered your questions. Many of them have to catch an airplane to leave, but some of them may be able to hang around, so you might be able to catch them on a one-to-one basis. But thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you, press.
Suscríbete al canal Tu Mundo Ahora y activa la campanita, así no te perderás ninguna noticia de los hechos más importantes de América y el mundo.